Germany. Germany was the main Axis power in World War II, kicking things off in 1939 by invading Poland. Their blitzkrieg tactics crushed much of Europe fast, making them look unstoppable and pulling Italy and Japan closer. But Hitler's overconfidence led him to invade the Soviet Union while fighting the Allies, stretching Germany too far. By 1945, cities were bombed, armies crushed, Hitler dead in his bunker, and Germany's defeat brought the Axis collapse in Europe. Italy joined the Axis in World War II under Mussolini, hoping to revive the old Roman glory days. At first, they jumped in with invasions in Africa and the Balkans, but their military wasn't as strong as Germany's and often needed Nazi backup. As the war dragged on, Italy kept losing ground, and by 1943 Mussolini was overthrown while the Allies invaded. Italy switched sides, fighting against Germany, and by the end of the war, Mussolini was executed and Italy's Axis dream completely collapsed. Japan entered World War II aiming to dominate Asia and the Pacific, grabbing colonies for resources. Things escalated when they bombed Pearl Harbor in 1941, dragging the U.S. into the war. At first, Japan expanded fast across the Pacific, but soon faced heavy pushback as America's industry and navy turned the tide. By 1945, Japan was bombed relentlessly, cities devastated, and after the atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they surrendered, marking the end of Axis power. Hungary joined the Axis in 1940, mainly to regain lands it lost after World War I. At first, it fought alongside Germany in campaigns like the invasion of the Soviet Union. But as the war dragged on and losses piled up, Hungary tried secretly negotiating with the Allies. Germany didn't like that, so they occupied Hungary in 1944, dragging the country deeper into the fight. By 1945, Hungary was wrecked, occupied by the Soviets, and its Axis gamble ended in disaster. Romania joined the Axis in 1940, mostly to win back territory, and because Germany promised protection. They sent huge armies to help Hitler invade the Soviet Union, especially at Stalingrad, where they suffered massive losses. As the tide turned, Romania realized sticking with Germany was a losing bet. In 1944, they switched sides to the Allies, even fighting against their former Axis partner. By the war's end, Romania was under Soviet control, its Axis gamble backfiring hard. Bulgaria joined the Axis in 1941, hoping to reclaim old Balkan lands. Unlike other Axis countries, they avoided fighting the Soviet Union and mostly occupied parts of Greece and Yugoslavia. Things stayed relatively calm until 1944, when the Red Army closed in. Bulgaria quickly flipped sides, declared war on Germany, and joined the Allies. By the end, they escaped total destruction but still ended up under Soviet influence, their Axis adventure cut short. Slovakia became an Axis country in 1939 after breaking off from Czechoslovakia under German pressure. Basically a Nazi puppet state, it supplied troops for Hitler's invasion of Poland and later the Soviet Union. At home, resistance movements grew, and in 1944 the Slovak national uprising tried to kick out the Germans, but was crushed. By 1945, Soviet forces rolled in, Germany collapsed, and Slovakia's short-lived Axis role came to an end. Finland's role in World War II was unique. It wasn't officially part of the Axis, but fought alongside Germany against the Soviet Union. After losing territory to the USSR in the Winter War, 1939-40, Finland joined Germany in 1941 hoping to win it back, a period called the Continuation War. They fought hard, but eventually realized Germany was losing. In 1944, Finland signed peace with the Soviets and even turned against German troops. By 1945, Finland was battered but still independent. Thailand got pulled into World War II when Japan invaded in 1941. Instead of full resistance, the Thai government made a deal and officially joined the Axis, even declaring war on the Allies, though Thai diplomats in the U.S. ignored it. Japan used Thailand as a base for its campaigns in Burma and Malaya. Meanwhile, a strong underground resistance worked with the Allies. By 1945, Thailand switched sides, claiming it had been forced into the Axis and avoided heavy punishment after the war. India wasn't an Axis country, but it played a huge role in World War II under British rule. Over 2.5 million Indian soldiers fought for the Allies across Europe, Africa, and Asia, the largest volunteer army ever. At the same time, Subhash Chandra Bose formed the Indian National Army with Axis support, hoping to free India from British rule by fighting alongside Japan. The war left India exhausted, sparked massive independence movements, and just 2 years later, in 1947, India finally broke free from Britain. Iraq. Iraq flirted with the Axis in 1941 when a pro-German government took power, hoping to kick out the British. They allowed Nazi planes to use their airfields, but Britain quickly crushed the uprising in what's called the Anglo-Iraqi War. The pro-Axis leaders were ousted, and Iraq stayed under British influence for the rest of the war. So while Iraq's Axis moment was short, it showed how World War II reached deep into the Middle East too. Iran. Iran tried to stay neutral in World War II, but its strategic location and oil made it a hot target. In 1941, Germany had influence in the country, which worried the Allies. Britain and the Soviet Union invaded, ousted the pro-German Shah, and set up a supply route to help the Soviets fight Germany. Iran ended up under Allied control for the rest of the war, so its brief Axis-leaning phase ended quickly without major fighting on its soil. Syria and Lebanon. Syria and Lebanon were under French control during World War II, and when Vichy France, pro-Axis, ran things, they were technically Axis-aligned. In 1941, the Allies invaded to stop Nazi influence and secure the region, fighting Vichy forces in both countries. After a few months, the Allies took control, ousting the Vichy government. By the end, Syria and Lebanon were back under free French and Allied influence, ending their brief Axis connection. Egypt. Egypt wasn't officially in the Axis, but it was a major World War II battleground because of its location and the Suez Canal. The Axis, led by Germany and Italy, tried to push through North Africa to control it, leading to massive battles like El Alamein. The Allies, mostly British forces, stopped them and eventually drove them out. By 1943, Egypt remained under Allied control, serving as a key base, and the Axis never gained a foothold there. Spain. Spain stayed officially neutral in World War II, but under Franco, it leaned toward the Axis with sympathy for Hitler and Mussolini. Spain sent a volunteer unit, the Blue Division, to fight alongside Germany on the Eastern Front against the Soviets, but avoided full-scale involvement. By the war's end, Spain remained untouched by direct combat and avoided punishment, managing to stay out of the Axis collapse while quietly supporting them from the sidelines. Portugal. Portugal stayed neutral throughout World War II, cleverly playing both sides. Under Salazar, they allowed the Allies to use air bases in the Azores but avoided joining the war directly. They also traded with both Axis and Allied countries, keeping the economy afloat. By the end of the war, Portugal had stayed out of the fighting entirely, avoiding destruction while quietly benefiting from its strategic position.